How's it going, guys? I'm Connor from Running Warehouse, and today we are here with Nick Roche. He's the Global Product Line Manager at Adidas, and today we are talking about a very special shoe. Nick, it wasn't too long ago that we talked about version 1 of the Adios Pro. It was the latest next generation carbon fiber plate, and now looking into the new year, we've got an all new design. It's very special. Nick, can you tell us a little bit about the inspiration of this new shoe?
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks for having me, Connor. So on the Adios Pro 2, the inspiration and the motivation for the team here was these marginal gains versus the predecessor. Like you said, we touched on it. We saw our athletes breaking and setting world records, winning races, winning championships in the Adios Pro. So coming into the second iteration, the main goal was to improve in a few key areas, just a little bit, knowing we didn't want to change a lot, because it was so well received and performing so well. And those areas we can get into now, or we can wait, but looking at the upper, the midsole, and the outsole, Connor.
Perfect. Well, you talk about small changes, but when I look at the shoe, it really has been a complete revamp, and it took some inspiration from the predecessor. And yeah, let's dive a little bit deeper into the shoe. The thing that stood out to me at first was the midsole. What compound are we using here? Do we still have that same amazing Light Strike Pro? And tell us a little bit about some of these carvings we see in the midsole.
Yeah, absolutely. So we have the same Light Strike Pro midsole. Hopefully you can see that. Yep, that we saw in the Adios Pro 1. But what we wanted to do is get into these marginal gains that I was referring to. The team looked at data from force transfer and gait analysis to figure out exactly where we needed the foam, where we didn't. So it doesn't look as drastic on the lateral side, but when you go to the medial side here, we have this major cutout and these carvings that you were referring to. And what we've been able to do here, it's the key goal, the benefit of saving weight here without increasing instability or anything. So goal, carve out weight in unnecessary spots and build towards a faster shoe.
Now, weight savings is always very important, and obviously the lighter the shoe, the faster the shoe, but stack height is also a very important feature with these next generation plated racers. With all the weight we see lost in the shoe, did we lose any stack height?
We did not lose any stack height. We still have the same stack that you saw in the Adios Pro 1. We've got 39.5 in the heel and 31 millimeters in the forefoot for an 8.5 millimeter offset from heel to toe.
Perfect. Now, another very important part of this shoe is, well, and with really all next generation plated shoes, it's that carbon fiber plate. Now, with the Adios Pro 2, we have a little bit of a different setup. We've got carbon rods and then a little bit of a carbon setup in the heel. Can you talk about what makes this so unique and how it is going to be a little bit different from that last version?
Yeah, so to be completely honest with you, Connor, it is eerily similar, almost exactly the same as the first setup, with a little heel plate at the top right underneath the heel to allow for heel stability at landing and stability through the ankle. But what we have is energy rods that stem from about 3/4 of the way in the heel all the way to the forefoot. And what makes this unique and this ride and the sensation and experience unique is these energy rods have been created to mimic the metatarsal bones in your foot. So you're really getting stiffness where your body has been created to have stiffness in the foot and nowhere else, to allow for a really, really pleasant experience in toe off in a rather natural way.
Perfect. Now, the plate is obviously a big part of the shoe and those rods, but we also have to talk about another unique part, and this really kind of all started with version 1. We've got a unique outsole design, and I think last time you referred to it almost having some inspiration from a rock climbing shoe. Can you tell us how that outsole has kind of come into version 2 and how it's going to be a little bit different?
Yeah, exactly. So we still have that textile rubber outsole in the heel and in the middle and middle forefoot here. But what we've added a continental rubber toe off for added traction all the way through the gait cycle and at max toe off when you're really, hitting the speed. But what has evolved is we've added in cutouts to reduce weight, as you can see with the holes. We also have added a texture that goes from heel to forefoot to allow for just a little bit more ground friction and a little bit more biting versus the ground, whereas the first iteration was a little bit more sleek of an outsole.
Perfect. Now, I think that outsole is a great addition to the shoe, but moving on into the upper, I think we've got some small updates that are going to further enhance that fit. Can you tell us about What is new with the new upper?
Yeah, so the new upper is a Solar Mesh 2.0. It's 2.0 because it's the evolution and the successor to the Solar Mesh 1.0 that was on the Adios Pro 1. And what's been changed and improved and updated is we have the same still breathable mesh that you'll see on the Adios Pro 1, except for we've reduced and widened the gaps in the internal reinforcements to allow for a really strong midfoot fit and forefoot fit and lockdown, but we've increased breathability through opening up the windows larger than they were on the first iteration. So the goal here again was a reduction in weight, an increase in breathability, and an increase in fit in the forefoot and midfoot.
Perfect. Well, I mean, with a lighter weight, that same responsive ride, an even better fit, more breathable, it seems like the Adios Pro 2 has been elevated, still takes a lot of those original key philosophies, but is just an even better shoe for race day. But I think the real question is, where's this shoe going to fit in the lineup, and what do you think athletes are going to be using this shoe the most on race day?
Yeah, so it's the Adios Pro 2. It's the next version, next iteration of the Adios Pro 1 that is our half marathon and marathon shoe within the adizero running framework within the franchise. We've seen some athletes potentially wear them in shorter distances, but it's been designed, developed, created for the half marathon and marathon distances.
Perfect. Well, I think I'm extremely excited to try this shoe. I really enjoyed the first version. It was a fantastic option, really one of the best carbon plated racers on the market. And with version 2 becoming lighter, still retaining those key philosophies, I think it's going to be a great addition to the Adidas lineup. If you're looking to get this shoe on your feet, you can find it here at Running Warehouse in June 2021.